a really successful year for the academy in 2023. What are some of the standout moments for you?
I think the biggest standout moment in terms of like performance and togetherness and whatnot, you have to talk about the FA Youth Cup. So going to Luton, getting through into round 4, that's definitely a highlight. It's definitely a standout. I think for us as an academy as a whole is continuing to grow on the good work that's happened across the last couple of years. So really establishing our values, understanding what it is to be Swindon Town, understanding what we represent and what everybody who works, plays for, and those sorts of things represent as well. So actually having an identity, that's been massively positive for us too.
When you reflect on yourself in the new role of academy manager for the last 6 months, what are the biggest changes and impacts you've seen in the role so far?
Personally, or
A bit of both.
I think the biggest thing, it links back into my answer within the first question, is having that identity and having a togetherness. So the values, what we go after within the values and how that is represented or how that marries up to a performance potentially on the pitch or an individual. So for us, it's about being industrious, it's about being adventurous, and it's about being humble. So we think that is the football club's values, and it represents the football club the best. So yeah, it's just continuing to build and grow on that. I'd say has been fantastic across all of the age groups and in every department within the academy.
You touched on it there, but how important are those values to sort of have something to work towards across all age groups in the academy?
Massively, because it keeps an alignment and it keeps everybody working towards something. So if you know what's expected, then it's very difficult to deviate away from those things. Everybody knows what it is to be adventurous. Everybody knows what it means to be industrious, and everybody can display humility. So wherever a boy or boy's journey takes them, we'd hope that those values that have been sort of drip-fed in and spoke about throughout their journey within our environment, they can take wherever they go. So it's about the person as well as it's the player.
Of course, as you reach the older age groups, of course, becomes all the more important, both as a person and as a player as well. So when you look at the under-18s, obviously Sean Wood was made under-18s academy manager in the summer. How have you assessed the progress of that area of the academy so far?
Sean's massive on the values. So he really, really believes in those. So he's continuing to establish those within the under-18s programme, and really making sure that they're in everything that he does, as well as what the boys do. So is it a performance on the football pitch? Is it something off of the pitch? It's living and breathing those values. So that's definitely something that I'd say is part of the assessment, has been really good within the PDP or the under-18s this year.
There's one thing that sticks out there is looking at previous FA Youth Cup games, and of course we had the younger age groups watching the under-18s. How big a thing was that for all the academy at that point?
Again, something that was really, really big. Role modelling is massive, but if the older boys are role modelling, I'll go back to values, but if the older boys are role modelling the values and living and breathing them, then it's even more powerful for the younger age groups.
As we touched on the FA Youth Cup, of course, we have got the Man United game in round 4. So with that and the other successes for the under-18s, is that a testament to how well the side in that age group is performing so far this season?
Definitely. Anybody that's kind of followed academy football at whatever level, especially in like the under-18s, would know that the FA Youth Cup is kind of like that pinnacle competition. It's the nights that all the boys look forward to. Everybody wants to be competing and playing in those games. So to get a draw like that here is fantastic for the boys. It's going to be a massive opportunity for them and hopefully a memory for life.
Looking at the academy overall, of course, you have had numerous league debuts this season. So how does that help the growth of a young player, and how encouraging is it to establish the relationship between the academy and first team?
The relationship's really, really important, because then that demonstrates pathway and it demonstrates an alignment. This is something that Jamie's brilliant at. Jamie Russell is creating that pathway and that link between academy and first team, and making sure that boys are given opportunities to be around the first team through training. It could be league debuts. I know we've had a lot of league debuts this year, but also cup debuts too. So just that exposure and that experience for the young boys in our environment is important, because they understand what it feels like to be around a first team dressing room. first team training, and the differences between our environment and that environment.
A lot of attention, of course, goes on to the under-18s, but there's numerous success stories across the age groups. So can you just tell us a bit more about those?
Yeah, naturally, as you said, we do focus a lot on the under-18s, and they get a lot of coverage in terms of media coverage and the Twitter updates and those sorts of things. But there's a lot of good work going on across the whole academy. So from the under-9s through to the under-12s, Ryan, who looks after them, there's a lot of purposeful work and really intentional work around the programme there to help boys grow and develop, again, as footballers, but as young people too. We're excited that Danny Rose, a previous player here, is going to be taking over our under-13s to under-16s age group, so looking after those age groups there. And again, his experiences through Football League as playing, but also coaching experiences, we believe will really help the young boys in that environment too. So there have been some real standout moments in those age groups in terms of going to competitions, playing against different category academies, and coming away with good performances, which has been really encouraging throughout. So it just shows that the pathway for player development is there within our environment, and that's the most important thing.
You touched on Danny Rose there. What sort of success and experience will he bring to this academy side?
He's played here, so that helps. He's had a good career in the game too, and I know he's keen to grow as a coach as well. When he was playing here, he did coach within the academy too, so he was working with the 15s and the 16s, and I know he's done that at each club that he's been at recently. So when he went up to Grimsby, I know that he was coaching up there too, as well as playing. So he's keen to coach. He's going to bring lots and lots of experience, and I think he's just going to help boys no end.
As we look into, obviously, academy graduates, one player that sticks out this season is Harrison Mintor. And of course, I know we wanted to talk about him in a bit more detail because it feels like this season he's really sort of stepped up to the mark and really made a first-team regular place this season.
Yeah, I think for us it's important to talk about Minno because he did the journey from under-7s all the way through to where he is now as a now 20-year-old, starting league games in League Two is massive, and that just again goes back to our pathway and sort of the programme that we have from the youngest age group all the way through to the first team. So I know, and I don't think Minno will mind me saying this, it's not always been the easiest for him. He's had on his journey those ups and those downs like you'd expect any academy boy to have, but he makes us incredibly proud, and he is a role model not just for the youngest boys in our environment, but actually for the boys in the under-18s too, because that's their next step.
How important is that for these under-18s that, you know, from time to time make that step up into first-team football, having someone like Minno there to help support them into it?
So I know Minno would be a good mentor and a good role model, and I'm sure lots of other first-team players would as well. But just to have someone there that will put their arm around you, will look after you, but have also done that journey. So from our academy into the first team, he's got experiences and he's got things that he's seen and done that he could help our boys out with too, and he's brilliant. Anton's another one who's brilliant that come to sort of our induction evenings and whatnot and talk to the boys and talk to parents openly and honestly about what that journey's looked like. So it's about really never getting too high when you're doing well, but not getting too low when you go over a speed bump, for example, or something that's a little bit of a setback. It's just about remaining consistent.
Just finally, as we now sort of continue our crossover into 2024, what are the next targets, aspirations and everything like that as we progress throughout the year?
To continue growing on the good work that we're doing. So there's lots and lots of different departments and different elements that go into the academy. So it's not just the football side. And I think, again, it would be easy to just think that what we're doing is football, but actually we've got a very good medical team, very good S&C team, player care and looking after the person and the boy and being purposeful around that to help unlock the player. So it's continuing to grow on the good stuff that we're already doing, continuing to make sure that we've got an environment for young people to grow. Sorry, my voice has gone there. For young people to grow and develop, and making sure that actually 2024 is just as progressive as 2023 was.